This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to compare two very different Windows 8.1 tablets, 10-inch in size approximately. We have 10.6-inch and 10.1-inch. This is the Asus Transformabook T100, a very affordably priced full Windows 8.1 Intel Atom Bay Trail tablet. And here we have the Microsoft Surface 2 running Windows RT. It's both 8.1 here on either one, but obviously a little operating system difference, definitely difference in quality and materials and display. We're going to look at them now. Two tablets that look pretty similar, and the price is pretty close too. So how do you decide between these two? And though we have the Asus Transformabook T100 here, this is going to stand in probably for a small army of Intel Atom Bay Trail Windows 8.1 tablets in the budget price range that are going to hit in the coming months. 10.1-inch Asus, 10.6-inch Microsoft Surface 2. The big difference, Windows RT, both 8.1 here, but this is the RT version. What does that mean? It looks the same ostensibly. You have the same live tile Metro interface. You can go to the desktop on both of these guys, but once you get to the desktop on Windows RT, you've got your familiar experience with the Windows Explorer, calculator, the usual built-in applications. Not all of them, though. You don't get full Windows Media Player. But you can only run MS Office. You can't install legacy Windows programs. That means Adobe Photoshop, Skyrim, all those software things that come on install CDs and DVDs and end with a .exe. You can only install programs from the Microsoft Store, which means primarily what you've got right here, these live tile applications. Now, there's a decent selection. There's about 100,000 apps right now, but we still don't have everything. We have Evernote, we have the Weather Channel, you've got Bing, you've got Google, all that kind of stuff, but not every program that you're used to seeing on iOS or Android even is here just yet. Now, in our Asus, the big selling point right here is this is full Windows 8.1, the 32-bit edition of the operating system. That means you can install Photoshop, anything that ends in .exe, all the drivers that you might have for peripherals, USB peripherals, 3G, 4G modems, that kind of thing. Now, our Surface RT comes with a set of drivers that handles pretty much every printer that's still commonly used today. Keyboards, mice, but support for other kinds of USB peripherals is pretty small. So you might say, well, God, why would anybody buy Surface RT? And so far, you know, that's been the reaction. They haven't sold a whole lot of these things, but there are selling points. And still, Microsoft says they're not giving up on this because they're still working on having this guy compete with iOS and Android tablets, which means a more locked-down, turnkey system. It's not like full Windows here where things can get messed up, where your Windows gets corrupted, you get viruses, that kind of thing, and have to start from square one. It's a very contained operating system. It's pretty sleek. It's pretty fast. And for those who only really need Office for legacy apps, which is probably a lot of people, honestly, you need the web browser and you get both the desktop and the Metro version on Windows RT as an operating system, you're good to go right there. So not to insult people who are above a certain age, but the cliche example is some mom or some pop out there and they want to get a tablet, but they want to be a little bit more productive. Maybe they want to be able to access their work files and use Office, that kind of thing. But other than that, they're kind of techie newbies and you don't want to be having to support them all the time. There's something to be said for Surface 2 and Windows RT. It's a pretty easy device to use with just about no maintenance whatsoever. You will get Windows updates pushed to you, but all you have to do is say OK and restart when you get one of those. There are keyboard solutions for both of these, and what's really cool, for $399 or $349, depending on the capacity you choose, 32 or 64 gig, you're going to get this keyboard dock here for the Asus. Comes with traditional keyboard, 10.1 inches, a little small to type on, but nice key travel. Teeny little trackpad, not a great trackpad, but it gets the job done. That is in the box. So again, for those of you who want to be productive, that's a pretty attractive proposition. The tablet locks in nice, safe, and secure. Now with Surface 2, it starts at $449 for the 32 gig, $549 for the 64 gig model. In both cases, I do recommend the 64 gig because you just don't have that much space. You have about 16 gigs available on Surface 2, and you have about 14, 15 gigs available on the 32 gig model of our Asus right here, so that's not really much. Both of these do have micro SD cards for storage expansion, but for your program installation, that kind of thing, get the 64 gig. Anyway, in addition, you're going to have to buy the keyboard. You know, you could use a Bluetooth keyboard of your choice with it or a USB keyboard, but I think most people are going to go with that productivity and cool thing, and we have the type cover, which has the clicky moving keys here, and the touch cover, which has a touch sensitive. These are both the 2 models. So we have touch cover 2 and we have type cover 2 right here. Both of these very improved with backlighting. And the touch cover 2 has become quite usable. The first generation one was a little trying. This one works pretty well. and this clips on with magnets. And we're not going to explain everything to you because you can watch our video review of the Surface 2, but just like so, and then it acts as cover. It puts the device to sleep so you can just carry it around like that. But you're going to have to spend more money for that. So now you're saying to yourself, well, for around the same price approximately, or even a little bit more for the Surface 2, why would anybody pick something that isn't full Windows? And here's the thing, when you're talking about Surface RT, for that price you're going to get top-of-the-line hardware. It's running on NVIDIA Tegra 4. This particular model will also see Snapdragon 800. Nokia's going to be coming out with a tablet as well. Pretty much you're looking at the same specs that you might see on a high-end Android tablet here. That's less money. It's just not quite as expensive to make. Also, Microsoft does not have to pay themselves a licensing fee, but that's another thing. And they actually bought Nokia as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But anyway, you get top quality hardware here. Still, unfortunately, it's not a perfect world. Though we would like that, it's just about as likely as winning the lottery that you're going to see something with high-end specs in this kind of form factor right here. You're still going to have to get something like the Surface Pro 2. If you really want super duper high-end specs, for $500 or a little bit less, you're going to get something that has, well, at least here we have an IPS display, but it's not very bright. You can see the difference right here. You're going to get kind of plasticky, shiny, looking hardware, some flex to it. The keyboard dock also has a little bit of flex. It's going to be budget hardware. That's still what your $500 gets you, and it gets you an Intel Atom Bay Trail, which is the new quad-core version of the Intel Atom, but the Intel Atom is still a lot slower than the Core i5, so you're not going to get super-duper blazing performance. Interestingly enough, the Tegra 4 is actually a lot faster at running the UI and just launching programs and that kind of thing than our friend here with the Bay Trail Intel Atom is. Both of these have, as I said, 32 or 64 gigs of storage. In either case, it's eMMC style storage, not mSATA storage. 2 gigs of DDR3 RAM. They both have Bluetooth and dual band Wi-Fi, so we're on even footing there. Both have a micro SD XC card slot as well. Now with our Surface 2 right here, you get an aluminum casing. Really high quality, desirable looking hardware. 2-position kickstand now, so you can use it both on a table and on your lap as well. Vapor magnesium casing. Full 1080p display versus 1366 by 768 on our more budget-oriented Asus. Also wide viewing angles here. Noticeably sharper. This is also a brighter display. All around, this is kind of more deluxe hardware. So when you're spending your money, what's important to you? Do you need the full Windows experience, or do you want a nice classy piece of hardware? Some people really do just want something that's well made with a really nice display on it. That's what you're getting with the Surface 2 here. Both of these tablets have a single USB 3.0 port, a 3.5mm combo audio jack. They have built-in mics. They have stereo speakers. The Asus actually takes the cake for being one of the loudest 10-inch tablets we've ever heard. Very loud speakers, not too brassy, but you know, you're not going to get full rich audio there, but it's actually louder than the Surface. In terms of ergonomics, whether you're using this keyboard or not, this guy will stand up by himself, so you don't need to buy a handy-dandy little stand. With our Asus, obviously, it's going to need to be in the keyboard dock. One benefit that you have when it is in a keyboard dock is you have more positions. Just like a laptop, you know, you can do this, you can do this. It doesn't go too far back. That's as far back as it goes, but since this is IPS, viewing angles are pretty wide on it. The other thing the Surface Pro 2 is going to get you is dual cameras, 5 megapixel on the back, 3.5 megapixel on the front. Again, because it has to compete with the iPad and Android tablets, which typically have at least mid-range cameras on them. You'll also get a little bit longer battery life, too, more than a little bit longer, because the Tegra 4 and the Snapdragon 800 that'll be in some other tablets are even more power frugal. So typically we've been seeing 10, 11 hours of use time out of the Surface 2. Now the Asus is pretty impressive for running full Windows, and the Bay Trail little quad-core CPU that's in here, we've seen about 8.5 hours with that, which is still very respectable. Now it has just a 720p webcam on the front and no rear camera. Again, it's kind of more of a budget kind of device in that price range, so you're not going to get fancy-dancy rear cameras. Both of these can do Adobe Flash. Adobe Flash Player is pre-installed with the Windows 8 operating system. Will automatically update as needed, and you get the desktop IE web browser. That's what you got right here on our Surface 2 running Windows RT. Of course, this being full Windows, you can download Firefox, Chrome, other browsers if you want. So far, there is no Chrome browser for Windows RT. Google would have to go ahead and actually make that browser specifically for Windows RT and put it on the Windows Store if they want to make that available. Both of these tablets come with MS Office 2013. You get the RT edition here, which has most, not quite all the features, but pretty much most of the core features people will use on the Surface 2. And you also get Office 2013 Home and Student Edition on the Asus T100. So in the end, what it really comes down to, the experience that you need. For you power users who really need full Windows inside, then one of the budget Bay Trail Intel Atom Windows 8.1 tablets might be just what you're looking for. You say, yeah, I don't care. I don't need a whole lot of fancy quality. I don't need metal casings. I just need that kind of productivity on the go, and I don't have a lot of money to spend. Well, then the Asus Transformabook T100 is for you. Surface, on the other hand, is for those people who are looking for something that's almost more like the iPad or an Android tablet experience, a more kind of lockdown operating system, harder to get viruses, but you're giving up the ability to install traditional Windows applications there. So that's the Asus Transformabook T100 versus this Microsoft Surface 2. Hopefully now you understand the differences between Windows RT versus regular Windows and why they cost the prices they do. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full review of both of these tablets, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.